Welcome to another episode of the Unprofessional Parenting Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lainey.
And we have a different setup today. We are at our home studio.
Yes.
Which is actually our dining room.
Yep.
We just moved the dining room table out and we're shooting in front of this wonderful backdrop of bookcases and whatnot.
Yeah.
I love the home studio.
Yeah, me too.
Home studio is comfy. Mm-hmm. It's cozy. Mm-hmm. It's nice. Our dogs are in the other room. It's really great.
Yeah.
Well, on today's episode, we are going to be talking about repair. And we'll explain what repair is in just a little bit, but this is part of our bonding and attachment series at the beginning part of 2026, where we're talking about all things bonding and attachment in the foster and adoptive home. We hope that you enjoy this conversation. Let's get into it. Welcome to Unprofessional Parenting. We're your hosts, Matt and Lainey.
I'm Lainey, a licensed clinical social worker with over a decade of experience working in child welfare.
And I'm Matt, with more than 10 years working in church ministry. And together, we're foster and adoptive parents who know firsthand that parenting is anything but perfect.
We're here to laugh, learn, and share the real side of raising foster and adoptive kids. Parenting isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up even when you feel completely unprofessional at it.
So let's get into today's conversation. Today's episode is all about repair. Repair. Lainey?
Yeah.
What is repair?
Yeah, repair would be, I guess, the moment after the moment, like the aftermath of, like, what are you doing after you've just really been an unprofessional parent,
Okay. Yeah.
What are you doing after the chaos and the crisis?
So give me a 30-second example of what it would look like in the home of why the repair moment is so important. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So you're in a situation in which there's just escalation in general that looks different for every kid and every parent, I guess. But, your child's escalated, you're escalated, you say something that you shouldn't say, or, it's not your finest parenting moment. Mm-hmm. And then you separate yourself and kind of realize, that's probably not the approach I should have taken in that situation. And you have a choice to make at that point. Like, are you just going to like leave it there, I guess? Or are you going to repair it?
Okay.
And I would argue that repairing after a crisis is probably the most important indicator of a healthy attachment.
Okay. Why would you say that?
Because there's a lot of important pieces and aspects to building healthy attachment, right? Like there's so many variables and dynamics that we talk about in these episodes. But repairing after you've done something wrong and apologizing and everything that we'll talk about in this episode, that is something that most of our children have probably never experienced.
Like healthy repair.
Repair. Like true conflict resolution, an adult apologizing, owning something that they did wrong, apologizing for it, speaking truth back into that moment.
Yeah.
It's something that lets a kid know, like, hey, I'm not perfect either.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all about, so often I think we get focused on the child's emotional health and the child learning coping skills and the child learning emotional regulation and all these things, which they do need to learn. Most foster and adoptive children are really going to struggle with those things, but also so do we as adults.
Sure. Yeah.
We also struggle with emotional regulation when our child has done something wrong for the 100th time, or hasn't followed our direction for the millionth time, or all of those things. Like, we also have a tendency to do things wrong and not control our emotions perfectly.
Right. It's obviously because we're not perfect people. Well, right. I know I'm not perfect. You are very close.
I'm close, but right here in this topic, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is my flaw in life.
So you would probably define it as repair is the launching pad to moving on in a healthy, reconciled way in a relationship, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the foundation. So you're going back and you're fixing the thing, but you're also providing space to move on in a healthy way, to not harbor any ill feelings or any ill will towards anybody, and to not just continue to sit in the emotions of the moment.
Right.
But you're moving on to something that's healthy.
Right.
So repair, it's the moment after the moment.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing.
Yeah. It's taking responsibility for something that went wrong. It's not shifting blame Or like, I think one of the worst things you can do is be like, well, I got mad and yelled at you because you made me mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a dangerous thing to make. It's again, continuing to put blame on the child. Well, I can't control my emotions.
Yeah. So you got to
because of you. So you have to change.
Right.
It's no, like we can't do that because then our kids, that's the message our kids hear. So our child now is hearing like, okay, well, I'm going to punch a hole in the wall then because I don't like your parenting.
Right.
Okay. I'm not going to go take a shower and go to bed and I'm going to throw a temper tantrum about it because I don't like the direction you gave me. Right. So if you don't want it flipped, right? If you don't want your child believing that message, then we've got to teach it from our perspective
and
first.
So this is all on the foster and adoptive parent.
100%. This is the responsibility of us as parents.
And I look at it as this because we're older-ish, 30s now in life. And sometimes I do think that we can let our emotions get the best of us.
100%, yes.
But when it comes to really just taking when it comes to thinking about yourself and introspectively looking at your emotions and the way that you handle situations, I would say that foster parents, adoptive parents in this position should be the people who can maturely recognize when they've made a mistake.
Yes.
While a foster adoptive child who's walked through traumatic experiences, who maybe have never experienced what healthy relationships and bonding look like, are the ones who are sitting there with question marks of like, what is my next pathway? What is the next step that I'm taking? And when the foster parent steps in a healthy way to repair that relationship after the blow up and argument, I think it helps our foster and adoptive kids know which pathway to take in their own relationships as well. And so I think it's a healing process for them in their social circles, but also it's a healing process for them when it comes to trust and relationship with us as well.
Right.
It's such an important thing.
Right.
Such an important thing.
Social learning is at the basis of this. Yeah. Our children will learn by seeing it done.
Right.
By seeing the example of it done.
Right.
And I think so often we get frustrated. We would get really frustrated with our kids at the beginning of this process because we were like, they never apologize for anything they do.
Still don't.
Like there was
still don't.
No, that's not true. That's not true. There was just such a struggle with apologizing, which I think is true for so many children across the board.
Right.
That's what I hear from a lot of foster and adoptive parents is like, my kid just will not take ownership of what they do wrong and apologize.
Because it's easier to move on and forget about it and try to move on,
right, and
forget about it than it is to repair.
Right, but if hard. They've never seen the example of it done, like I just think to like back to our two cases, right? Like when you're in the middle of a foster case. How often do you foster parents see a biological parent show up in court or a meeting or whatever and refuse to take responsibility for their actions that got us all in this situation? I remember so many times wanting to look at parents and be like, you're the reason that my butt is standing in a courtroom right now.
Right. Don't take it out on me.
Right. And so it's like they just have grown up in a life where it's the norm to not take responsibility
or pass
for
blame,
or pass blame, or shift blame to somebody else, or I didn't do anything. It was your fault. So they have to see it. They have to see the example of it done in order for them to learn it.
Okay, let's talk about our home. Repair. We try. We really do.
All right. You probably try a lot more than I do.
I try hard. Yeah, I really do try. I'm a big apologizer. I'm a fixer by nature. So I'm like, I want relationship to be right. If I've done something or if there's something, and I always tell our kids this as well, like, regardless of what happened in the situation, whether it's your fault or not, you are in control of what you are in control of, and you are in control of your response, and you are in control of the next step that you can take.
Yes.
Now, relationship is a two-way street, obviously, but I'm going to make sure, and I'm trying to teach this to our kids, I'm going to make sure that there is nothing on me in the end where I can make sure that I can look back at that situation or that blow up or that experience or the argument or whatever, and make sure that what I've done is taken care of in apology and in explanation and in repair. And so I'm trying to get them to see that. So let's talk about just repair in general. Like there's a lot of different ways to repair relationship.
Yeah.
And I think every situation is unique. Every circumstance is unique in the repair that's needed, not in the nature of repair that's needed, right? Bring up a story of my son. Mm-hmm. This literally happened this week.
Okay.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So I walked into the kitchen and the folding door to our pantry was completely just off the hinges, sitting in the middle of the pantry.
Like, how was it even, like, I'm amazed at the physics of how the door was even still standing upright.
Unbelievable. He figured out a way
Attached
to
nothing.
the accordion
Yes.
door, just like it's some sort of right triangle. I don't know. He figured it out.
Yeah.
And I knew that the reason why the door was off its hinges is because my son ran into it.
There's no, if something's broken in this house, he is the only explanation.
It's him
Yeah.
or me. It's him or me. It's just the boys in the house.
That's true.
And so the coolest part about this is that we have a living room camera in our house. And so we were able to pull up on the camera exactly what happened. He was walking by the door or opening the door or something, and you hear a pop.
Yep.
The little sliding thing on the top of it broke off. The door's broken.
Yeah.
And he just goes, "What?"
Yeah.
And
then
then
it was a total accident, right?
Yeah, complete accident.
For context, like he
wasn't
didn't
angry.
do anything wrong.
He was trying to get a snack.
These
Poor
doors
kid.
were built in like the 60s.
Yeah.
So
And
it's just an accident.
So, but his response is he said, "What?" And then he walked outside and began
sets it back up.
Yeah,
so it
sets
doesn't
it back
look
up
broken.
and then goes outside and starts bouncing the basketball. Well, the next person to see the door is me. And so I walk through there. I'm like, what is going on with this door? So I start quizzing the house. We go back on the camera, find out that it's our son. We invite him back inside and we start to have a conversation with him. What happened to the door?
Yeah.
Why is this like this?
Like, we know you broke the door and then you just left it there?
Yeah. He's like, I ran into it. And I was like, then why didn't you tell one of us,
an adult?
Why didn't you tell your parents? Like, why didn't you get us to be like, hey, the door's broken. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up.
Right.
Why did you just leave it? And his response was, I did tell you. Mm-hmm. And I said, how did you tell us? And he said, I said what? And I was like, wait. I'm sorry. That is your way of telling us is by going, what?
Yeah, he was like, I drew attention to the situation.
By saying what? And I was like, how am I supposed to know? How is Lainey? I wasn't even home when it broke.
Yeah, you weren't even in the house.
You were in a different room.
I was in a different room. Yeah.
And I'm like, how are we supposed to know from the word what that you have broken a door in the pantry, you don't know how to fix it, and we need to figure out a way to fix it.
Yeah, and his whole thought process, which I'm still not convinced that he actually thinks this way.
No way.
I think it's just an excuse.
Right.
But like his explanation and thought process was that I should have gotten up from the other side of the house and come and investigated why he said what.
Yeah, and then that moved to, you should have known that I broke the door by me saying what. So obviously, it might have been the dumbest argument I've ever had in my entire life. It was,
I was losing brain cells. And I even was just like, do you know how often I tune you out?
Right,
like, I'm not listening to every word that comes out of your mouth. I cannot.
So we get into an argument as per usual because he's standing on truth that is not truth and just simply the logic that is so flawed and so silly because he's just trying to get out of the situation. Right.
It's simply like shift blame.
Yep.
Just how can I argue this situation in a way that I don't have to take any responsibility for what happened. It's not my fault.
You guys, I said what? You should have known.
Right.
And so we get into this verbal altercation in our home. And I'm just like, at the end of it, I'm like, dude, just go to your room. Go to your room.
Yeah.
So he went to his room. We took the dogs for a walk. And on that walk, we're like, man, we shouldn't have just gotten into an argument with him. Yeah. We should not have gotten into a verbal battle
because
with him.
we weren't upset the door was broken.
No.
It wasn't about him breaking the door.
No, not at all. It was about the process thereafter to alert a parent, you're hiding what you've done. Right. And now when we call you out on it, you're blaming it on us. Right. And so that we were just angry at it. Yeah. So we should not have engaged in a verbal altercation with our son in that. Yeah. Not at all. But what we did come to realize is that, like, man, what if we approach this process a little bit differently instead of getting into a verbal altercation, which is what he wants because he's just going to say things that are untrue and you can't change his mind on it.
Right.
What if we taught him what the proper response should have been? And it'd been like, hey, listen, buddy, I know that you said something, but you didn't say the right thing. The right thing would have been to do what?
Like,
and
hey,
you leave it open.
Next time I want you to do this. Well, our strategy with him is a little different from our others because he loves the opportunity to defend his case.
He would be a great lawyer.
He will be, oh man, he could argue a lie and make you believe.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh man, he'd be such a good attorney. But anyway, our strategy with him, I think moving forward, is kind of going to be, don't give him a space to explain or defend himself.
No.
Because
it'll be nonsense in the end.
It's nonsensical,
Yep.
right? Like, I don't need to know your side of the story. I don't need to know why. Because usually we approach with like, hey, why did this happen? And it just goes downhill from there. So our strategy moving forward with him would be, hey, I noticed you broke the door. Like, speak the truth. I noticed you broke the door. Next time, the right thing to do would be to walk into the room that one of us are in and verbally explain, I accidentally just broke the door. How can we fix it? Right. So like, you're giving him the truth right from the beginning. You're giving him, this is the action I want you to take. You're not allowing the full degradation of whatever the spiral of
And so the situation happened. We sent him in his room. We went on the walk. We talked about what we would do when we came back. And this is repair.
Yes.
This is planning for repair. And we get back home, I walk into his room and I allow him the space to respond to those things appropriately. I said, hey buddy, I understand that something broke and I know that it was an accident. I'm not mad at you for breaking the door. It was an accident. But your response could have been different. And I said, what could you have done differently? And he said, I could have walked out and told you. So in his mind, he already knew the right answer.
Oh yeah.
He already knew what he should have done.
Right.
But that repair moment allowed him the space to be able to verbalize that without us attacking him for, why did you do this? Why? Give me an answer. Why? And it didn't give him a chance to pass the blame.
Right.
It like you said, it assigned the issue and then it was resolved. And from that point, we get to move on in a healthy direction. It's not like he's not remembering the last thing of me saying, go to your room. I'm so angry with you. Not that I said I'm so angry with you. I'm not yelling at you,
right?
But it gives us the space to move on in a healthy way.
Right. Well, and then there's another type of repair in which it's really important for parents to own that they did something wrong.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Right.
The amount of times that we've lost our cool.
Yeah.
Really raised our voices, said things that we shouldn't have said, done things we shouldn't have done. And in those moments, when everyone just goes their separate ways and you have several moments to cool down and your child's cooled down, the importance of going back peaceably, non-confrontationally, gently, and owning, I really did something wrong here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is why I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This podcast is called Unprofessional Parenting. And our first ever episode is there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make mistakes. Your kids are going to drive you insane at sometimes, and blowups absolutely will happen.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. If you haven't had one yet, you will experience one. I promise you. That's why why repair is so important to talk about, but also have a plan going forward as well.
But the repair moment is so strong in building attachment and bonding. I always say, when we have these giant escalations, it's not fun in the moment, but I love the aftermath of our insanity moments. Yeah. Because when you handle it the right way, when the repair is done the right way on your end as a parent, I promise children will respond. All of our experiences have been that our kids respond really well to it. Yeah. And you just feel the relationship deepen. Yeah. And you feel they're happier. They then come out of their rooms and they want to be in close proximity to us. Yes. They're laughing. It's like the moments, I'm thinking of another moment with our son again.
He's just so easy because his emotions are very visible and very definable. That's true. Yeah. And the blowups are so definable that you can figure out a way to move on. Our girls are kind of a little bit more mysterious in the way that they react to
his
things.
Blowups are big, but then the repair is also big. Yeah. And several weeks ago, when we had a giant issue on the way to driving to church, of course, and I handled that situation so insanely terrible because I was at my absolute wit's end. Like I had no emotional regulation at that point.
No patience.
I was just freaking pissed off at him. He was pushing all my buttons and I was taking the bait on all of it. And it was a really bad relational moment for us, like a terrible relational moment for us. And you did a lot of salvaging, like the girls and I went into church. You did a lot of salvaging in the car once we left. And just the whole time I was standing in church, of course, like we're all standing there and I'm thinking, what an absolute joke that me and the girls are standing here and I'm like pretending to sing to this song while also holding back tears. And everyone around us is like, oh, we all look so like a happy little family. Yeah. And everyone's walking by. They're like, oh, where's your husband and your son? And I'm like, oh, they're just in the car talking about something, you know? And it's like our whole world is falling apart.
Right.
And I just knew, I'm like, I cannot let the rest of this morning go by and the rest of this day go by before I go back and repair this.
Yeah.
Like the burden was so strong. So eventually once he calmed down, because I think another thing is like your child has to be ready for the repair also.
Yeah.
We
can talk about that in a second.
Yeah. Your child really needs to be in a place where they're going to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And going back out in the car, I could tell he was like back down on earth level. And I just sat there and I hugged him and I said, I'm so sorry that I said those things and I did those things and I reacted in the way I did. I was like, bud, I get so frustrated. Like, you know how you get frustrated and you get really angry and you like, me too, like really me too. I feel that too. And I don't want to do that. And so just reinforcing, like, I really love you. Yeah. I love being your mom. I love that you're in this family. Like, yeah, we have a lot to work through, but let's do it together. And I'm not going to react that way in the future. I'm going to try really hard to do it different, whatever. So those moments, and he literally just like melted into my chest crying. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it was just a moment. And after that moment, our relationship was different. Yeah. Like in a good way.
Yeah. We went out to eat after church.
Yes.
Everybody was in the greatest mood of their life.
Yes. We don't ever go out to eat after church because we're financially stingy like that. But I was like, I don't know if I texted you during the service or whatever. I was like, we're going out to lunch after this. Yeah. And we all had a great time. Like everyone was laughing, the kids, it was just a vibe. Yeah. Repair does something for you as a parent as well. Yes. I think you have those moments. You talked about timing of it, right? Kids got to be ready. The kids got to, you can't try to repair after a blow up if the kid is still furious and fuming and steam still coming out of their ears. Right. And they just want to yell at you and they're not, they're going to disregard a lot of the things that you say in that moment, even if it's heartfelt. Right. But I do think that no matter what, repair is worth it. Like even if you as a foster parent or adoptive parent are like, I just don't know. I like this one was bad. Like what I said was bad. I just wish we could move on and forget it ever happened. I'm telling you that child does keep score. Yeah. Like no one forgets. Yeah. You don't forget. Even if it's days later, like even if it's days later, sometimes it takes days. That's what we're learning with our girls right now. Like teenagers. Yeah. It's taken some days, but it is bottom line worth it because again, you're reinforcing the trust, you're reinforcing the humanness of you and your love for them and your desire for the relationship to be right. Yeah. And I do think that you see it when repair happens correctly and it's healthy and the bond and attachment grows and it's stronger. I'm telling you, you see that play out in the child's life with their interpersonal relationships with their friends as well. Man, I'm blown away at some of at the place that our kids are at right now when it comes to friendships, when it comes to fixing things, when it comes to apologizing for things, when it comes to asking for forgiveness for things, like night and day difference from when they stepped into our home. And I think it's because not that we're perfection at this, but we are striving for repair to happen we're putting the effort in after everything. Yeah. And we provide space and we encourage and allow it for our kids to do that as well. Yeah. And we're seeing our kids do it like between their friends too, unprompted by us.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we're having conversations at home and like, you really need to apologize to your friends here.
Sure.
Of course we do have those conversations, but I mean, one of our kids, especially, I have seen her taking the initiative, and she's starting to recognize like, oh, this is not what I want in my friendship right here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is bad. And it was a recognition she never had before. And if things started going bad in her relationships, man, she would just light the whole thing on fire and watch it burn.
Yeah.
But now it's like this awareness of like, oh, wait, I can actually stop this train before it falls off the tracks.
Right. And even the recognition of there's something that feels off here.
Yeah.
too.
Like something's not right and I don't like it.
Yeah.
My friends are upset with me and I actually don't like it. Like that health is starting to come around.
Yeah.
Or like our son had a couple of his friends were fighting with each other, and like boys being boys, I think they actually got in a fist fight.
Yeah.
And do you remember he separated them and he was like, okay, now you need to apologize to you and you need to apologize to you and hug each other. And he's like playing mediator. And we were like, wait.
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah.
Like he just mediated an apology and a friendship, but it's him learning. It's our kids learning, and they are practicing it outside of our house.
Also, craziest thing, practicing it inside of our house with us.
Yes.
With each other, that's still a little bit
I mean, yeah, sibling. Yeah, the sibling thing has been difficult.
But with us, and that same girl you're talking about in our home, who had struggles with relationships and friendships and things of that nature, is now at this point, for some things, coming and apologizing and asking for forgiveness and repairing the relationship with us.
Yeah.
It is now coming back full circle.
Yeah. For even things that I'm like, I wouldn't even really expect an apology.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really expecting an apology or repair here. You know, you got a bad grade or whatever, like just little things here and there. Or one time she had her tablet wanting to play games in her in her bedroom, which I hadn't even thought about. I was just like, yeah, no, you can't do that because we don't allow technology in our room. But I was like, yeah, no, you can't have that in here. And it like ate her up inside. We weren't even upset about it. I was just like, yeah, no, give me that. Like, you can't have that in here. Weren't even mad. There was like no issue about it. Several minutes later, she gets out of bed from going to sleep, comes into our bedroom and is like, I'm really sorry I did that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't even, no one's even really mad, but it was like, you're seeing our kids after years and years of repetition and years of practicing and teaching and all these things, it's slowly starting to click to become second nature for them.
Right. I think they're starting to realize a big thing for our kids, and we don't even have to do this entire episode, but the perfection in relationship is not attainable. Right?
Yeah.
The approach of trying to be perfect in every single moment to keep the relationship going is impossible. But repair is the thing you should strive for.
Yeah.
Because perfection isn't going to happen. There's going to be imperfections. But the repair after the imperfection, I think, is the key. And I think they're starting to invest more in the repair. Not that they're flippantly just running around, you know, while just throwing out, you know, insults to people and hurting people on purpose because they know repair exists.
Right.
But I think that they're realizing I'm not a perfect person. The Bible tells me I have sin. Everybody else has sin. My relationships aren't going to be perfect, but I can work on repair.
Right.
I can work on repair.
And it starts with us as parents.
Starts with you as foster and adoptive parents. Repair is so important in building healthy bonding and attachment, but also seeing it live out in your kids' lives and their relationships as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're thankful that you joined in for this episode. We hope that it is helpful to you in your foster care and adoption journey. Or if you're just listening to this because you like to hear Lainey and I talk,
of course.
We're glad that you're here as well. We will see you on our next episode. Thanks for tuning in.